Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James, and from a new location, Matto Phillips joins me. How's things, Matt?
Gone to hiding. No, not really. This is
Um,
spacious.
you having your oh shit, I've just gone blank on his name. Saddam Hussein moment. You've gone into a bunker. You're not going to come out. But you're still popping out to talk video games with me.
Yes. Probably
You
not
also
as
you also
no,
weren't a
no,
dictator, as far as we know.
no.
All right, so people have seen the headline. We're basically talking about Rod Fergusson here, and he has transitioned from in the last couple of weeks, and the pacing of all this was very weird. So, like, there was initially a story about 3 weeks ago that he was leaving Blizzard off the back of Diablo 4, but there's another expansion that's supposedly on the way, so he's maybe left midway through that, or he's happy with where it's at, and then he's left. No one quite knew what was going on outside of the fact that he left, and then all of a sudden, about 2 weeks later, the report comes out that he has joined, and I guess somewhere in the middle, we started hearing that, according to 2K or Take Two, Bioshock 4, I guess we could call it, is not in a great place. And then we find out a week later that a whole bunch of people have been laid off, and Rod Fergusson and his team are rolling in to essentially take the game from what Strauss Zelnick, the head of Take Two, said is a good game. They don't want to put out a good game. They want it to be a great game. So Rod is coming on board. Given what little we know about the new Bioshock, what are you thinking about, I guess, just at face value, this news? What do you think that kind of means? You did a bit of digging beforehand to just get a bit of a sense for Rod Fergusson and what he's done over the years, because there's been quite a few
Yes.
of these stories from involving him over the years where he's kind of gone in and fixed a game or helped get a game to the finish line. But what do you think it means kind of in the case of Bioshock?
Well, I think they might be being nice saying it's a good game. I feel like that's just code for shambles.
I feel like Take Two would just go, if it's not working, we'll kill it. So Strauss Zelnick is pretty upfront most of the time with how things are going. I've found anyway, just in the bits of media that I've kind of consumed where he's spoken. There's a degree of which where I kind of trust that, like, if it was no good, I don't think you would have brought Rod in at all. You probably would have just killed the game, right?
Someone else.
Because
Yes.
they've already gone through a version of this new Bioshock years ago, and they just scrapped it. Apparently, same with a remake of the original. They just scrapped it. Um, so maybe there was something to it, and they just like, okay, we just need someone who can kind of get all the wheels turning in the right direction now. But I mean, do you based on what little we know, do you think we can, like, Rod and his team can save this game?
Uh yes. You'd hope if they're still working on it, there is somewhere it can be salvaged. You would hope. Because
Hopefully.
what's the point? What's the point of working on a game that's just like, nah, this is rubbish. Get Rod in. Still not up to standards, and you've wasted all that time bringing a guy in who you thought was going to save it. So
Yeah, based on just the sequence of events, you've got to be pretty confident Rod's going to be able to do the job. Now, for a bit of context for anyone who's not necessarily familiar with Rod Fergusson, because he's not, I mean, he's a big name, but he's not the
he's not
he's
top of
not
the
the
ladder.
absolute top of the tree. But maybe when you sit and hear this for a bit of background, you'll start to change your tones. So where Rod Fergusson really first kind of blew up in terms of, I guess, notability was with Gears of War back in 2006. He worked with Epic Games on that. He worked on them with for Gears 2, Gears 3. He even assisted with some other games along the way. Remember, like, that team chair that did Infinity Blade, the mobile
Yes.
games, Infinity Blade, and then eventually I've just gone blank on the Metroidvania one that they put out. Shit, Shadow Complex. Shadow Complex. They're also responsible for that. But he worked with them. He's done some little gigs for Capcom along the way. Like, he produced Lost Planet 2. He helped Remedy with Alan Wake. But where things kind of started to really ramp up for him and he started to really build his reputation was off the back of Gears. He then went over to work with Ken Levine, who had been kind of stuck in the weeds for quite some time developing Bioshock Infinite. If everyone remembers kind of the story around Bioshock Infinite, is that they put out this trailer. Most of what we saw in this trailer is not actually kind of what the final game ended up being. The tone, the world, those sort of things, yeah. But then a lot of the mechanics, a lot of the ways, like, a lot of core elements aren't really the same. from the first trailer and the first gameplay thing to what we ultimately got in the end. Apparently, Ken just kind of got stuck. Had a great idea, had a great team, but just couldn't, I guess, almost project manage his way out of it. Rod came in and fixed that. He then returned to work on Gears when Epic Games no longer worked on the franchise. Microsoft forms the coalition, wants to get Gears of War going. We'll get a veteran in. He comes in and helps him with that, fixes the day. He then goes on to continue with Gears for a little while. He helped not didn't necessarily specifically do all the work, but he was the studio lead on Gears 5, helped with things like Hive Busters and Gears Tactics. But then Diablo 4 was kind of stuck in the weeds. He went over to Blizzard, helped them get the game over the line. Of course, Diablo 4 is adored by everyone. And now all the report is that Bioshock's in this really bad place, or it's good but not great, whatever wording you want to use. And so he's kind of returning over there. Now, we've obviously just discussed our thoughts on Rod Fergusson and whether he can save it. And for what it's worth, based on his history, I'm pretty confident he can turn this game into at least a very good game, if not the great or excellent game that Take-Two want it to be. But going beyond that, how many in this industry, like how many people do you see there being around there that can actually go and, like, if their name gets attached to a project, you can be sure that it's going to be pretty good? Are there many of those people left, or is it because we've gotten so big as an industry now that, like, you really it's the team more so than an individual?
Yes, it's more the team, because I think because teams now are so big. If you went back 20 years ago, I would say the teams weren't as big. So, like we said, there was only one person we could think of off air, which was Kojima.
Yeah.
And I, off the top of my head, cannot think of anyone else. Like, you can think of other people that left projects and they all, like, went downhill, which is, my thought was Amy Hennig for Ubisoft or Assassin's Creed games.
Oh, you'll think Jade Raymond. Amy Hennig did Uncharted. Yeah.
Oh, right. Hey, I'm getting that mixed up. Yes. Just saw
and we're still
like
and to that, like, years ago, I would have thought she was one of those sorts of people as well. But then ever since things kind of got ugly and she left Naughty Dog while they were working on Uncharted 4, she then found herself working with Visceral Games on that Star Wars game that not 1313, but I forgot the name of it. There was that other one that got cancelled, that then prompted the team to get shut down. And then she went. There was something else she was working on that got scrapped, and now these days she's working on there's a new Marvel game. I think I can't remember the name of it. With Skydance. There's it apparently looks really good, but I've forgotten the name of it now. 2026. It's meant to be coming out next year. Marvel 1943: really? Rise of Hydra. It's been delayed. Right. It recently, back in May, got delayed to early 2026. So it's not too far away. But she's had shocking luck, and basically now hasn't put out a game since Uncharted 3, which was 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, because Neil Druckmann led The Last of Us. She was then working on Uncharted 4. There was some sort of ugly change of the guard there behind the scenes. She left. Neil Druckmann came in and took over. And then she had the whole Visceral Games thing fall apart, and is now kind of working on a new game that I think at this point is probably going to come out if it's early 2026. But she's had a pretty rough run of it. Jade Raymond, you're right as well. Like, she's just gone from busted ass project to busted ass project, and has now found herself seemingly kicked out when it came to Fair Games after the game didn't get some great feedback recently from playtesting. You're right. There's not many of these people. Kojima's one.
I'm really struggling to think. While you've been talking, I'm still trying to figure out someone.
Miyamoto, I would say, is the other, or one of the others. But of course, like, he doesn't do nearly as much as he used to anyway because of his age. He just, like, he's kind of the visionary behind it. But I think if you're like, okay, we need you, mate, he comes on, that the game's going to come out and be great. He would be one of those few, but it's also, he's pretty much done in this industry for the most part now. Like, he's tipped well past retirement age, and it's just a matter of, like, what level of influence he wants to have. Like, he can just pick and choose when he comes in and out. I don't think he's the Nintendo break glass in case of emergency option that he perhaps could have been or was. Or you could just take it to the bank that if he was involved, it was going to be fine. We just mentioned Neil Druckmann, but, like, Naughty Dog themselves at around the same time that they finished with The Last of Us realised that they didn't have producers, ever. They kind of didn't believe in it, but then off the back of The Last of Us, they like, oh, okay, we need to change our team structure. So now you've got someone there that like you can have Neil Druckmann being the most creative bloke in the world, but it seems like he still need or one of the best directors or whatever in the world, but he still needs his production team around him to kind of help him get there. I just don't. Todd Howard was someone that I think everyone kind of considered in this category for ages, and he
Yeah,
might
and then
as a
Starfield came out.
as a
I was gonna
visionary, I
say
think he's awesome.
Israel, yes.
But I don't think he can. Like, you can't just go, he's got it. I don't think there's many people out there these days, and Kojima is probably one of the most prominent ones. Like, it feels like he comes up with the idea, he can then manage his team. Like, he's got the production or the project management chops as well to be able to kind of direct his team and guide them to make sure they get this thing done. But you're right, there's not many people out there anymore that can actually do this. While I've continued to waffle on, has there been anyone kind of spring to mind at all?
No, the only person that came to my mind was Reggie, but
Well, even he wasn't a game developer.
no, he wasn't. That's the problem. He's just the guy everyone knew just as Reggie, and then someone cooler came along called Doug. But I'm really trying to think. No, I can't think off the top of my head. It's just
Sorry, the whole Doug thing just clicked.
so say, no, not Dave. It's not David Cage. Who's it? No, not David.
David Cage is the one that does like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human and all that.
No, leave him alone because he's not doing. Some bad things that happened there. I haven't seen them since. Their Star Wars game got announced, and shit hit the fan with them a little bit. I'm still trying to think really hard here.
I'm wondering, like, and I can't remember which of the houses is now left at Rockstar. I can't remember if it's Sam or Dan Houser that are still there. One of them left and is in the process of still building up a studio, but one of them is still there. But I would back like the Houser twins in to just be like whoever's there, that's okay. There's not many. Maybe it's my JRPG love kicking in, but like Hironobu Sakaguchi, who's the guy who's like the dad, the father of all things Final Fantasy. But then even when he left, he went off and did that like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon and all those sorts of games that have been really good. He might be one. But then and I've actually I've just found a list. IGN posted a list. I don't know how old this is now actually, but of like the top 100 game creators or what they deemed like I guess their list. Oh, actually, one Tim Schafer.
Oh yes.
Obviously, their game, like the Double Fine games, aren't the biggest games in the world, but I feel like if he's involved, the game is sure to be a success.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I could just completely forgot about him because let's be honest, he hasn't made a game in, well, God knows how long.
Yeah. What about and now I am looking at this list, so this is going to help. Like Sakurai, so the guy who does like the lead Smash Brothers. He's recently did the Kirby Direct, and he even made that little why do video games take so long to make along the way, which was rolled gold. Obviously, it was in Japanese.
So is that the guy? So well. Is that the guy who has his own YouTube channel? Yeah, that guy. Yep. Ah, that guy. I couldn't remember his name.
Genuinely funny bloke. But then also, I've forgotten his name. He does all the Dark Souls, Elden Rings. Miyazaki, not George R. R. Martin. No, you can't even get his book series that he started 50 years ago done. Miyazaki, I reckon, could be one of those. I feel like I think they're almost at a point now, and we'll see what happens with what do they call it? The Dust Bloods that comes out for the Switch 2. I think it's next year. Them kind of leaning into online, but like he even leaned into online with Elden Ring Night Rain, and people losing their mind over that. Like, it feels like anything he touches turns to gold these days. And the one Dark Souls game or the one Souls game that people don't think is quite up to the standard of everything else, which is Dark Souls 2, is the one game he didn't work on.
Oh, okay.
And of course, like from all reports, it's still a great game, but like it's comparatively worse than the rest.
But not terrible. It's just not as good.
It's just not as good
as the other ones.
So, maybe there's something there, but like I'm skimming through this list and I just look, I'll admit there's plenty of names here that I'm not as sure about these days. I used to think of Harvey Smith, who's the guy that did Dishonored and all of that. I used to think he would be in that sort of category, but then they also put out that vampire game from a year or two ago that was a bomb.
It's not that vampire one, is it?
No, not vampire.
Not Blood Rain. That's 20 years old.
Oh my god! And they shut down the studio.
Oh, Redfall.
Redfall. Like he was one of the leads on that. Enuma, who does Zelda, I guess you could probably bundle in that thing. Like he's been the head of Zelda now for 20 plus years since Miyamoto really kind of dialed down his level of responsibility over it. I could probably toss him in there, but I'm really stuck. And I'm scrolling through this list, and there are some names that I just don't recognize because they're not, or they're older and they've been and kind of gone within the industry. But there's not a lot that
the Doom guy.
Current Doom guy, or are you talking about like old school?
The old school.
John Carmack. No. Yeah. John Carmack, as in that does Epic Games these days, or are you talking about like Ramiro?
Ramiro,
with the long
hair,
long hair, who just recently had his game destroyed by Xbox.
Wow. See, Xbox destroyed everyone's dreams not long ago. But yeah, maybe him. But like I said, that was 30 years ago. So times might have changed.
Yeah, fair bit's changed.
I don't know.
I guess the main thing is I think that we can kind of land on here is that these days your Rod Fergusons and some of the other individuals we've spoken about here who can kind of go, if they're associated with the game, this game is going to be good. That list is starting to get quite small. Now Rod, I think, is what he has been the success that he is because he's got the producer capacity. He can get the people to where he needs to be. I don't know if he's necessarily the creative visionary sort of guy, but he's got the management skills to be able to get people where they need to be. And I'd imagine maybe he's looked at the scenario for Bioshock and gone, okay, like this looks like a good idea. I like this idea, and you just need my skill set now to get it to the finish line. And so with him on board, I go, okay, this game's probably going to be good now. Like he clearly believes in what he can see, and now it's just a matter of getting it to the finish line. Others, they're more the creative people. So again, like your Kojimas and those sorts of people that we've discussed, they're bringing different sorts of things to the table. But I think we're at a point now in this industry, and you said it yourself, with like the size of the teams and all that. There's not many now that you look at and go, if you're involved, it's not a guarantee because nothing's a guarantee, but like I'm almost certain this will be a success.
Yeah.
And what we've probably come up with like 6 tops.
Tops. But it is funny too because when you start hearing about indie games and that, you sort of know all the devs' names because there's like a team of 6 or something, so you know who the main guy is. It's like the guy for old Expedition 33, the former Ubisoft employee who is now laughed at Ubisoft saying my game's better than yours.
You see, they came out and did an interview and they said there's going to be another Claire Obscure game.
Oh, it's Expedition 34. So it's really happening.
You've played this game, you know that can't be a thing. But
I know, it's just funny.
It's a prequel. Expedition 34, the next numerical game, is actually a prequel, which is all be very Kojima.
When you told me the story, it's like, someone asked him, he's like, hey, is there going to be an Expedition 34? I thought, they can play it, but it's just the cutscene is just death.
We know how this ends. Spoilers, everyone. But it goes down.
Not a spoiler. Not a spoiler if you've played the first 30 minutes of the game. It is no spoiler. You turn into dust.
True. Yeah. Or a lot of people turn to dust. Any other thoughts on this one? I know this is kind of a shorter episode, but like any other thoughts on this particular sort of idea in terms of just like how even teams are kind of functioning these days and where these particularly notable individuals fit within the mix?
No, because like you said, there's so many that we just don't know anymore. It's like we said, 2 people we could come up with names for off the top of our head. Then we had to Google it. I say a lot of them seem to be Japanese.
Yeah, I think the teams are smaller. Probably even the expectations from fans are also like they're not trying to expect the world. They just want more of the thing that they love.
I think it's also too with the producers of the game in Japan that they show their face and talk about it.
Yeah.
Where I think over in North America they just show a trailer.
Yeah, I think we're getting way less of like the people involved, which sucks actually in a whole bunch of different ways. As someone who used to host a podcast where it was all about the people, and yet the people are trying to be hidden away more and more and more by PR or marketing and those sort of things, and they just want the product to. They don't want people to make a mistake when they're speaking and then destroy the PR plan.
Or give out a spoiler and go, "Hey,
yeah,
you can't say that."
Which it's disappointing because I'm sure like the reality is there's probably way more of these people that we're trying to identify tonight that exist, and we just don't know who they are. That like they bounce around to a project and they are like one of the gun hires. Like, okay, we're good now, but we just don't know who they are. We're kind of rolling with the same names that we've been talking about for 20 years in this industry. But there's probably another crop there that are doing all this awesome stuff and we just don't know it. So, any other thoughts though?
No, I just hope that old Ron can come in, fix Bioshock, and make it good. Great. Look, I should say great, not good. Great.
Yeah, great. Look, given he's actually in the stable, in the 2K family or the Take-Two family again, maybe he could get over to Ghost Story and Ken Levine and maybe just try and help him get Judas out. That'd be great too.
Yes.
You can reunite with Ken and just help get that one over the line. Though we did see. I don't know if you spotted it, but there were signs of life this week. Did you see that there was actually some activity? They hit the PlayStation blog with some updates. They're looking to get
a stupid blog.
Oh yeah, I know, but like they're basically hang on,
they wrote something hey,
they actually communicated a little bit. Let me find the news. It was a very small thing, but they're like, we need to get out there and talk to you. We kind of missed the way we used to do this when we were developing Bioshock games, so here we are.
The thing of talking to people, I know a lot of people have forgotten to do that these days.
They put out like a piece of key art.
Words come out.
So there's some little gifs in there that kind of show the game in action a little bit. They talk about how the villainy system works within the game. Like there's, they gave us, and it's not like it's probably at the absolute most, probably a 3 or 4 minute read as long as people don't get distracted. And it is 2025, so maybe people get distracted by 15 different things, watch 20 different reels,
or 15 words and go, right, I've got something else to do.
Yeah, but I would definitely encourage people, if they're interested in Judas, actually to go and check it out. But it does wrap up with acknowledging the fact that people want to know the date. While we wish we could give you an exact date today, we're not quite ready to finalise that. As you know, release dates have a way of slipping by, and we'd like to avoid having to change the date after we announce it. But we know Judas is not really a game until the players get their hands on it, and that's a day everyone on the team is working towards. Thanks for reading, Ken and the Ghost Story team. They could probably deal with a bit of help from Rod Fergusson. Oh no, that was just the last.
Oh right.
I said, they talk about this villainy system. They focus on the characters. They show off the game's key art. Like they do quite a lot with it. But I'll link it to you after we finish, so you can check it out if you can. But or even on the side now. But yeah, that's the situation anyway for that one. And yeah, they could probably do with Rod's help. But anyway, on that note, we'll wrap things up there then. If you enjoyed this episode of Patched, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit all the buttons down below. Check out all of the content we've got on the YouTube channel. There's more episodes of Patched. There's Let's Plays. There's shorts. Go check all of it out. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news features, links to the podcast series Patched, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au. Kicking a few bucks, lower tiers, early access, higher tiers, monthly episode exclusives. And finally, there are the socials. Matto.
Phil.
Paul, James Games, myself. The website is player2au. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you later.